From California is recognized for 4 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, under current law, basic rights that protect survivors of sexual assault and allow them full access to justice vary greatly between each state and federal statute. The uneven patchwork of laws across the country and the lack of substantive rights for sexual assault survivors prevent them from having full access to the justice system. Survivors of sexual assault have experienced unspeakable trauma, and they should not face unnecessary barriers to justice. These brave survivors deserve common-sense legal protections and clear procedures that ensure access to justice. This bipartisan legislation will ensure that sexual assault survivors in federal criminal cases have a right to sexual assault evidence collection kit, a right to be notified in writing before the kit is destroyed, a right to request preservation of the kit, and a right to be informed of important results from a forensic examination. This legislation is so important because it ensures these rights in the federal criminal justice system, and furthermore, it will set an example for states to adopt similar procedures and practices. Additionally, this legislation will establish a joint working group formed by the Attorney General and the Department of Health and Human Services on best practices regarding the care and treatment of sexual assault survivors and the preservation of forensic evidence. It will also make the Victims of Crimes Act grant funding available for states to disseminate written notices of survivors' rights. The Senate has unanimously passed these reforms, and now we must do our part to ensure that sexual assault survivors have a fair chance at justice. This legislation, which I have introduced with Ms. Lofgren, has been endorsed by RISE, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, more commonly known as RAINN, the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence, and the National Center for Victims of Crime, among other groups. I thank these groups, Chairman Goodlatte, Ms. Lofgren, and all other co-sponsors working to advance the Survivors' Bill of Rights. I remain committed to ensuring that survivors of sexual assault hear justice, and I look forward to working with my colleagues to advocate for victims of sexual assault and enact sensible reforms like this bipartisan bill. I encourage my colleagues to support the Survivors' Bill of Rights, and I yield back.